Hey guys, welcome back for another video. Today we look at a video from Coffee City, Texas, and an investigation by a Houston news station, KHOU 11, about a police force and the chief that quadrupled the size of his department in 2 years to 50 officers in a town with 250 people. Some of you have already seen this, but in case you haven't, this is now the complete story, the beginning and the end of how this eventually ended up. So watch the video to the end and see what unrolls here. It's a pretty crazy story. Let's get right into it.
New tonight, a tiny Texas town of about 250 people has 50 sworn police officers on the force.
We're talking about Coffee City. That's up in Henderson County, some 3 hours north of Houston. They have one cop for every 5 residents.
Coffee City hauled in $1 million in court fines last year for more than 5,000 violations, officers wrote, the most in the state for a town its size.
But this isn't a story about a small town writing a bunch of tickets. You see, Coffee City is a magnet for troubled cops.
How do we know? KHOU 11 investigates obtained personnel records from other police agencies and found more than half of Coffee City officers had been suspended, demoted, terminated, or dishonorably discharged from their previous jobs. A dozen were even criminally charged.
I was astounded to think that they've been hired by another agency.
Greg Freeman is a Sam Houston State criminal justice professor and retired Houston police captain.
I've never seen anything like that in my professional career, and I've seen a lot.
Their prior discipline ranges from excessive force to public drunkenness, untruthfulness, and association with known criminals. Criminal charges include DWI, theft, aggravated assault, family violence, and endangering a child. This is the man who hired them. Chief John J. Portillo quadrupled the department's size since he took the job 2 years ago. He says to provide 24/7 coverage for the town.
Why would you hire so many people with all these red flags?
There's more to just what's on paper. And that's where I rely on my captain and my background investigators to go in and dig and say, hey, what's the truth behind this?
The chief says criminal charges were often dismissed, dishonorable discharges overturned. He claims most applicants hired got on the wrong side of agency politics.
If you go back to the totality of a lot of these officers' stuff, I would say 75%, or if not more, they're being retaliated against from their agency.
Retaliate?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you take a chance, Chief?
I try to look at the good in everybody, and I believe everybody deserves an opportunity.
You give a lot of opportunities.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
The opportunity to wear a badge allows his officers to work extra jobs, which can mean real money, $50 an hour or more.
I mean, let's not hide it from anybody. They're making probably about $80,000 to $100,000 a year doing that.
And I asked Portillo directly, does he get a cut of his officers' extra job wages? Twice during our interview, the chief said no. The only money he makes from extra jobs is from the ones he works himself. And that takes us from Coffee City to Houston.
Call Garcia right now. Tell his his trainer commanded.
That's Chief Portillo caught on camera cussing out an elected Harris County constable.
Coffee City's police chief routinely works an extra job 200 miles away at this Houston apartment complex. And on this day, watch how John J. Portillo behaves.
I'm about to call Garcia and tell him he's going to be this next election.
It's an expletive-filled rant launched at the elected constable of Harris County Precinct 2, Jerry Garcia.
Call Garcia right now. Tell his his trainer commanded.
Portillo wanted Precinct 2 to file charges on a man he says assaulted him at the complex. It was just one of many requests the constable says kept coming in from off-duty Coffee City cops.
Which at first was, no big deal. We help anybody and everybody. But then we noticed that it was becoming a pattern.
That pattern, the constable says, was draining resources. So Garcia reached out to the Harris County District Attorney's Office.
And we were advised to tell Chief Portillo that he had to file the charges.
But when deputies did just that, Portillo left a nasty voicemail.
And your captains, lieutenants, or whoever those numbnuts are that you have working for you, tell them your guys not to help us out.
It saddened me, it upset me to hear that. This isn't something small. This is pretty upsetting.
What upset the constable even more, The response his agency got back after alerting Coffee City's mayor. I don't see very much there that warrants any disciplinary action from the city, the mayor wrote. The officers are contracted by the property for off-duty police protection. You may want to reach out to them with any complaint.
I was amped up. And I apologized to my city council, at city council.
Did you apologize to Constable Garcia?
No, I haven't had a chance I haven't talked to him.
The cussing incident happened 6 months ago.
Is that the real John J. Portillo that people are seeing in this video?
No, I don't just go off the handle.
Well, you did here.
Yeah, because I got socked in the face, I was mad, I was red, and I was upset because they wouldn't, help me file the charges.
It's not the only example we found that calls into question Portillo's character and integrity. In his application to become Coffee City's chief, he never listed this, a DWI charge out of Florida in which he failed to appear in court.
Why wouldn't you disclose that, Chief?
Didn't disclose. It was over 10 years ago.
You had an active warrant.
Huh? That was disposed of.
No, it wasn't. Court records show the day after our interview, Portillo hired a Florida defense attorney who filed a not guilty plea in the case.
From the looks of it, you weren't being truthful on the application to which you hold the job this day. Chief?
Yeah, I understand. But that's not what it is. I'm not being truthful.
You forgot?
I put down everything that was in my mind when I filled out my application to the best of my knowledge.
This is essentially a criminal racket that this police chief was running in this small city.
Turns out there are a half dozen full-time Coffee City police officers who don't even work in Coffee City, Texas. Instead, they work from home, more than 3 hours and nearly 200 miles away in Houston.
Who are these officers? This internal email shows they're part of a warrant division. It reads, there is no need to go to Coffee City because you will be spending 95% of your time on the phone, calling people who have outstanding warrants and collecting failure to appear fines. And because it's a full-time position, there's an added perk.
It gives them the ability to go work an extra job.
Coffee City Chief John J. Portillo concedes they're on the books as full-time because state law only allows full-time cops to work extra security jobs. At this Houston apartment complex, some Coffee City warrant officers do just that and make more than $50 an hour.
They work 2-3 days a week, 4 days a week.
But is it all above board? The warrant division is a performance-based division, and officers' pay is based on the failure to appears they collect. That's because state law requires full-time peace officers to get paid at least at the federal minimum wage. But again, at the Coffee City Warrant Division,
the court gives them $150 for each warrant that they clear.
So they don't earn a salary apart from that $150?
No, sir. No, sir.
A head?
Correct.
They get.
Correct.
Okay. Is that legal?
Oh, I believe so.
2 days after our interview, Coffee City PD changed course, sending out this email to warrant detectives that said, due to unforeseen difficulties, the program has been suspended until such time as I can make sure that we are in compliance with labor laws.
So whose job is it to police the police? The Department of Public Safety enforces any extra job violations. The Texas Commission on Law Enforcement, or TCOL, has the power to suspend or revoke a peace officer's license.
Chief John J. Portillo is off the job for 30 days. The Coffee City Council voted to suspend him pending an independent investigation into what we found. KHEO 11 Investigates revealed how Portillo routinely hired officers who had been suspended, demoted, terminated, or dishonorably discharged from their previous law enforcement jobs for a wide range of misconduct or even criminal charges.
I'll call Garcia right now. Tell his he's a or his chain of command is.
We also reported on a profanity-filled rant the chief launched at a Harris County constable while he was working an extra security job in Houston. And we uncovered how Portillo failed to list on his job application this active DWI case out of Florida in which he failed to appear in court.
Mayor Jeff Blackstone declined our repeated requests for an on-camera interview, but he did sit down with our sister station in Tyler. The mayor concedes he was unaware of many of the issues we uncovered.
My first reaction was just kind of shocked.
Mayor Blackstone says he had no idea more than half of the 50 officers on the Coffee City Police Department had been suspended, demoted, terminated, or dishonorably discharged from previous law enforcement jobs, some even criminally charged. The mayor and all the current city council members took office after John J. Portillo was hired as police chief. So the mayor says they were unaware of what we uncovered on Portillo's job application, that he failed to list an active DWI charge out of Florida.
I was not pleased whenever I heard the allegations, because if they are true, then that looks really bad. So we just have to make sure that we get to the bottom of all of this.
The mayor says while Chief Portillo is on a 30-day paid suspension, Coffee City will investigate the issues internally, as well as hiring an independent investigation firm. The scope of that probe will include the department's warrant officers, who we found didn't even work in Coffee City, but rather stayed home in Houston on the phone trying to collect outstanding traffic fines.
We weren't really fully aware of how it was operating, and that was all kind of brought to light as well through this story.
Going forward, the mayor says all police applications will be reviewed by the entire city council before any officer is hired. His goal? Rebuilding the reputation of his town's police force and public trust.
Up first tonight, breaking news from the KHOU 11 Investigates team.
Just a few hours ago, the city council in tiny Coffee City, Texas, voted unanimously to fire its police chief and deactivate the entire police department until a new chief can be hired. This comes after KHOU 11 Investigates uncovered questionable practices in the department in a series of reports.
Jeremy Rogowski is in Coffee City tonight with the exclusive update. Jeremy.
The Coffee City Council took less than 15 minutes to reach its decision. It means this tiny town of 250 people that once had 50 officers on the force now has none. Coffee City Council members took swift and serious action after what KHOU 11 Investigates uncovered. A police department that routinely hired cops with troubling work histories, hired by a chief, John J. Portillo, who had an unresolved criminal charge, and who launched a questionable warrant division with officers who didn't even work in Coffee City.
There was things that we weren't aware of, and that just really opened our eyes that, there's major changes that have got to be made and made quickly.
Portillo had tried to email his resignation before the meeting, but council members refused to accept it and instead outright fired the chief. And in a bombshell move, it also voted to deactivate the department as a whole.
We just felt it was best to basically terminate the program. That way we were able to go out, find a new chief, let him do all the proper evaluations and determine if he wants to rehire anybody or just start from scratch.
The action was welcome news for many residents who say they've lived with over-aggressive policing for too long.
Ever since we moved here, it was every day cop pulling in for one reason or another.
Something needed to happen.
Well, there you go, guys. Quite the ride. It just shows how corruption in these police departments can take hold if even a single bad police chief is in place and then hires in sergeants to help reinforce the bad behavior. I mean, this guy was practically just hiring criminals that were completely unnecessary in a city of this size and paying them a salary, drawing a big yearly budget from this city of 250 people. As you saw the interview with the other individuals there, something had to happen. Everybody in this town knew that this was not right. And it took this long, this news station, to uncover it in order to make some change in this area. So I commend KHOU 11 for drumming this up, because otherwise there wouldn't have been a change in this area. Thanks for watching again, and we'll catch you on the next video.